Today's podcast will look at the song Sweet William, also known under several other titles including Father, Father, Build Me a Boat, A Sailor's Life, and Early, Early in the Spring. I'll look at the known background to the song, its printing history and development, and I'll sing samples of the tunes linked to the song and end with a full performance. A sailor's life is a merry life. They rob young girls of the heart's delight, leaving them behind to sigh and mourn. They never know when they will return. Here's 24 all in a row. My sweetheart cuts the brightest show. He's proper tall, genteel withal. If I don't have him, I'll have none at all. Oh, Father, fetch me a little boat, that on the ocean I might float, and every queen ship that we pass by, we'll make enquiry for my sailor boy. We hadn't sailed long upon the deep, before a queen ship we chanced to meet. You sailors all, come tell me true, does my sweet William sail among your crew? The tune and words were collected in 1899 by Percy Merrick from Mr. Henry Hills of Lodsworth in Sussex. A young woman is left on shore. She's lamenting for her true love, who's a sailor. She persuades her father to build her a boat and sails off and looks for him. She meets another vessel who gives her the news that her lover has recently drowned. She finds that life is no longer livable and kills herself, either by drowning or running her boat onto the rocks. It's difficult to pin down just when this song was first written. The earliest actual accessible printing is from the early 1800s on broadside street ballads. The general opinion of the song experts is that it was from the late 1700s, possibly predating the French wars that started in 1793 after the Revolution. There's no internal reference within the song to give an actual start date, nor does it give any reference to an ongoing conflict. Some versions tell us that the sailor is part of the navy, he serves the king, whilst other versions only refer to William as a sailor. It's quite possible that the song was originally written for the theatre or a pleasure garden performance and was printed as a popular street song. The song is romantic and fanciful rather than practical when dealing with the loss of her sailor. It does not provide any specific details regarding the young woman or her sailor, and therefore could be reused when current affairs such as a war called for it. An early broadside, The Maid's Lament for Her Sailor Boy from 1810, has a lady meeting some French vessels to enquire for her true love. This doesn't indicate the French as rivals in war, but as a casual meeting on the sea. And would the young woman be free to sail searching for her love if there's a war in progress? This broadside was the basis of the versions collected in Aberdeenshire under the title of The Sailing Trade. What clothing does your Billy wear? And what's the colour of his hair? His trousers white and his jacket blue, and his curly locks they hang o'er his brow. But cries the captain, I rather fear, your Billy dear is drowned, I hear. For the very last night, as the wind blew high, we lost a charming young sailor boy. Oh, sailors, sailors, go all in black. Oh, sailors, sailors, go mournfully. Tie a black silk scarf to your topmast high, and mourning go for my sailor boy. She go for paper to write a song. She wrote it neat and she wrote it long. At every line she dropped a tear, and every verse she cried, Billy dear. She wrung her hands and she tore her hair. She beat herself in her great despair. till overboard her body threw. She could not live with her belly gone. The tune and words were collected by Gavin Gregg from Cape Mitchell of Aberdeenshire. The sailing trade ends with the young woman asking the sailors to dress themselves and the topmost rigging of the ship in black. The later printings simplified the song narrative, and the song was reused throughout the French wars and later conflicts of the 19th century. There is quite a wide distribution of Sweet William under various titles in Britain and in North America. There has been a comment that the earlier version of the ballad referred to the 1760 loss of the naval ship the Ramillies. However, this comes from William Christie's traditional ballad airs, where he stated that the tune was used for the ballad My Love Was Lost on the Ramillies. The tune is an early version of that sung by Mr. Hills of Lodsworth, which I used to open this podcast. The versions of Sweet William collected from the country singers are loyal to the broadside printings, but such was its popularity that the narrative was adapted and reworked. The core narrative remains in all the variations, but the opening and endings change depending on where the song was sung. The early broadsides opened the proceedings in a more poetic style, stating, "Down by the crystal riverside, where silver streams did gently glide, I heard a damsel making moan, how can I live now my gem is gone?" The versions collected in the south of England tend to use A Sailor's Life is a Merry Life opening, as used by Mr. Hills of Lodsworth, usually ending with the lady running her ship on the rocks or throwing herself into the deep so that she can join her William in his sleep. Sometimes this song opens with Father, dear father, build me a boat. Irish versions often open with the verse It was early, early in the spring, which is common to another sailor song in which the sailor returns to find his true love married to someone else. The tunes also had variations. In the south of England, it is generally a variation of the tune collected from Mr. Hills, but other tunes were used probably where the singer had forgotten just how it sang, and therefore substituted a similar tune with which they were familiar. Some current popular songs were used, as in our next song sample. The tune was from a song called If I Were a Blackbird, which dates back to the early 1900s. I haven't been able to track down the writer of the song, and the tune may well be traditional. If I Were a Blackbird has had several periods of popularity. It was collected both by George Gardner and Cecil Sharp in the first decade of the 1900s. It had a popular revival in the 1930s when recorded by Delia Murphy, and again in the 1950s when recorded by Ronnie Ranald, complete with bird whistles. Oh, father, dear father, pray build me a boat, that on the wide ocean I might float. Every kingship that we pass by, I'll make inquiry for my sailor boy. We hadn't sailed long upon the deep, before a king's vessel we chanced to meet. You sailors all, come tell me true, does my sweet William sail among your crew? Oh, what colour clothes did your true lover wear? And what is the colour of your true love's hair? He wears a jacket of the royal blue, his hair it is golden, and his heart is true. Oh no, fair lady, he isn't here, for he is drowned, we greatly fear, on yon green island as we pass by. There we lost sight of your sailor boy. Sweet William is a very popular sentimental song, which has various texts and tune, a great favourite in the current folk clubs and concerts, and it's well worth finding a version that might suit you. I'll end this podcast with an Irish version using the early in the spring verse to a popular tune also used for other songs. It was early, early, all in the spring, that my boy Willie went to serve the king. The night was dark and the wind blew high. It was then I lost my dear sailor boy. Oh, Father, Father, give me a boat out on the ocean that I might float, to watch the big boats as they pass by, that I might enquire for my sailor boy. She was not long out upon the deep, when a man-o'-war vessel she chanced to meet, saying, Captain, Captain, now tell me true, if my boy Willie is on board with you. What sort of boy is your Willie dear? What sort of suit does your Willie wear? He wears a suit of royal blue. You'll know him easy, for his heart is true. Oh, then your boy Willie, I'm sorry to say, has just been drowned the other day, on yon green island that we passed by. 'Twas there we laid your poor sailor boy. She wrung her hands and she tore her hair, she sobbed and sighed in her great despair. With every sob she let fall a tear, and every sigh was for Willie dear. Oh, make me a grave both wide and deep, with a fine tombstone at my head and feet, and in the middle a turtle dove, that the world may know that I died of love. Come all you sailors who sail along, and all you boatmen who follow on, from cabin boy to the mainmast high, you must mourn in black for my sailor boy.